In the spotlight tonight, an outrageous situation in earthquake-ravaged Haiti. Mayhem in the streets as starving crowds clamor for food, water, and medical supplies. Violence erupts in the face of hunger and desperation. One Haitian relief worker called it, quote, survival of the fittest. Despite a massive outpouring of donations, some of the aid is just not making it to a lot of these poor people. Why? CNN's Christiane Amanpour asked Haiti's prime minister.
What is the biggest challenge right now? We're still seeing that not enough food and water is getting to the people.
It's still coordination, because it's not that we don't have enough food or water, it's how we distribute it.
My very special guest saw this as a call to action. Eric Klein, who was featured on Oprah's Big Give show, is the founder of CanDo.org. He immediately mobilized and joins me live on the ground in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, for this exclusive interview. Eric, welcome. What I'm hearing from you is simply horrifying. What exactly have you seen vis-a-vis supplies not getting to the people during the time you've spent on the ground in Haiti?
Yeah, I mean, look, what's happening here is a lot of the supplies, I mean, a good portion of the supplies are sitting at the airport. What we've been seeing in a lot of the hospitals throughout Haiti, you know, all over the place, is basically what's happened is, you know, they're amputating people's, you know, their legs, and they're giving them aspirin as painkillers. And we have supplies that are sitting less than 5 miles away from these hospitals. I mean, not to mention the food and the water and all the other supplies that are sitting there. But the problem is, I mean, they should at least be able to get these supplies to the hospitals. Like I say, we're talking 5 miles away. We have organizations, big organizations, been around for over 129 years, some of these organizations. And if they can't get their act together by now on the ground, there's something wrong. And I think the international community should start holding these NGOs accountable.
Now, hundreds of thousands of survivors are alive, but they're severely struggling due to starvation. Entire families forced to share a tiny piece of bread. Some stretch out a meal for more than a week. We're looking at some new footage that you actually shot, and we're going to take a look at it right here. It shows these endless crates of supplies sitting there, not getting the people who desperately need it. You know, I've heard this from other people who've come back from Haiti. I've talked to them. They've said the same thing. And I saw a story on a show recently where you actually see a truck deliver rice to people, and then people start pushing and shoving because they're starving, and the workers take the rice, put it back on the truck, and drive away, saying that the people are pushing too much.
Right.
That's madness. They're starving. Of course they're pushing.
Right, and the reason is because, like I say, we're 22 days into this now. The problem is that they have to set up proper ground logistics and assessment right when this thing hits. You don't wait and then think you're going to roll into an area with enough supplies for 400 people to a crowd of 3,000 and think it's going to be organized. You need to come into, they should be mixing and convert, you know, talking to these groups, to these communities, people that are in charge of these communities. And these people are very capable of setting up logistics and setting up distribution here on the grounds. The problem is that there's no coordination, there's no communication with the Haitian people. So, I mean, of course it's going to be unorganized if there's no communication. You can't just roll into a crowd and then start, you know, throwing supplies out to the people and think it's going to be, you know, organized. And again, what we've been doing, organizations have been going out and setting up the assessment, setting up the ground logistics. We've been partnering with the local, you know, water companies, the trucking companies, and setting things up with them. And the distribution we've been doing has been pretty flawlessly because we've been giving them a heads up beforehand.
We've got to leave it right there, but God bless you for your good work. We're going to come back to you. Moving on. Mackenzie Phillips next.